Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the Vicki Boutin design team and I'm super excited to be working with the new Field Notes collection. Love the collection, so beautiful. And the project I'm going to show you, like most of my projects, it started with just creating a background with no plan in mind and we'll work from there. So what I decided to do, I knew that I wanted to create something that had a lot of layers in the background. This is for this project, sorry, I am using a Yeso foundation paper. So my idea was to create a watercolor background. And the inspiration for this color was the rose gold glaze. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing a little bit of fuchsia, lots of white, a little bit of the maroon tone, and you can see my crayons are really well loved, so they're cracking. They're peeling in some places, but I love them. I think it's one of my most used mixed media products. So if you ever have a chance to add something to your background, not to your background, sorry, to your stash, consider adding art crayons. They're the most versatile tool I think that I've encountered in my years of doing mixed media. Now, as you can see, all I'm doing is using my technique to add in watercolor, which is adding some water and then dropping the color on top of it and just helping it with the brush. And you're gonna see that actually, because I have Yeso the paper, the color stays afloat with the water and it mixes really nice. It gives you, like, you don't have to do a lot of work. Now, one thing I'm gonna say is along the way I keep adding a little bit of peach, but I'm not cleaning what I have in the background, and I'm using the same brush because I want the colors to mix together to have a nice combination of both colors. And one other thing that you will see in the camera, you're gonna see that I'm gonna take in and out of the shots. You're not gonna see the entire process, and it's because it took a while to create this process. It took around 30 to 40 minutes just to create the background. One, because I let it set to dry for a little bit in between adding the colors. I wanted, when I'm creating a monochromatic background in this case, I want depth of color. And the only way that I can achieve that using one single color is to let it dry a little bit before I add the next layer. This is just going to create a very subtle different tones in a way of the same color in one single background. And all I'm doing again is adding some water and then adding the pigment, or in this case the watercolor, on top of it, and just helping to move it around with the brush. Super simple. If you want to replicate this background, you can do it with a kissing technique, which is using a piece of plastic and moving it around. You can even also just use a brush and just make it a uniform color. You're gonna see that I like the look of the background and a lot of droplets, but it's not really necessary when you're gonna see how I create the rest of the layers. It's gonna be a background that has quite a bit of layers and a little bit of little details that are gonna actually sell the background, the monochromatic look of the background. Now, another thing, like I mentioned before, I set it aside to dry is because it was a very humid day in Toronto. It's been very humid and rainy in Toronto lately, hot days, rainy moments. So it takes longer to dry watercolor. It's something with the humidity in the air, and there's a lot of buckle on the paper. So my solution was to set it aside to dry overnight, and then once it started like drying, I put weight on top of it, and you're gonna see the paper is completely flat. This is the next day, and my idea is to build layers in monochromatic tones. So what I'm gonna use is the one of new stencils from Vicky's release, and it's called the Ink Spill. And I'm using the peach and the maroon crayons and also the stencil brush. And my idea was to create sort of an ombre look to the stencil, the hearts that I'm gonna add on this layer. Now, at the same, like I said, this took a 2-day process. What I did in between is go pick some pictures, and the pictures that I'm using in this, you're gonna see them in a little bit, is 2 pictures of my daughter. She's the kind of kid that will smile one second and the next one she'll frown. So I had a series and I just pulled a few of them, and I actually came with these pictures because the green in tones in the background are going to stand out against this dusty rose kind of background. And like I said before, all I'm doing right now to create the hearts in the background is using the stencil brush and a bit of the art crayon. And I'm choosing to go from light at the bottom to dark on top. So I'm playing around with the crayons, adding a little bit of peach when I am adding the hearts at the bottom, and adding a little bit more of the maroon when I'm adding the hearts at the top. And that's pretty much it. Super simple, and one of the best ways to actually create like a layer or an inky background without having to play with all that ink. Love it. If you ever get, like I said, invest on something, invest on crayons and a stencil brush. Perfect, perfect thing to add a mixed media background. Now, like I said, I am working on a monochromatic tones. The inspiration was this rose gold glaze, so I'm gonna add a bit of it. But I decided to mix it with a little bit of iridescent glaze. I want it to be lighter, I didn't want it to be that deep. And all I'm gonna do is pick another one of the stencils that come in the set. Like I said, the set is called Ink Spill. And this has these dashes, this circles made of little dashes and dots. And all I'm doing is using the stencil brush, picking up a little bit of the glaze, and I'm just gonna go in a circular motion on top of the stencil to create the impression of the stencil without having the texture of the adding the glaze. If you were to add the glaze just with a knife, then you have the texture. I did not want a texture background. I wanted the look of the glaze, but did not want the texture. So you're gonna see that I'm just gonna I'm gonna separate. I'm gonna add some of the impressions along the entire page, and I set it aside to dry. Now, once that was drying, I realized that the hearts were not as noticeable. Some of them were hidden. So my idea to bring the details was to detail the heart. And all I'm doing is using a very fine black fine marker, and I'm just gonna kind of create a little shadow behind the heart. I'm thinking, where is the light hitting it? So I'm just creating a little shadow on the right hand side. You're gonna see that I scribble little parts of the hearts, just like I said. I'm thinking, where's the light hitting the hearts, and I'm adding a little bit of shadow. So think just the top of the heart, and then on the left hand side, just the top of the top of the left side of the heart, and then the next side of the heart, and then that's about it. Now, again, when you have something hidden light on the heart, then you're gonna have a reflection of the light. So to add this whiteness of the reflection, I am gonna use a little bit of yeso. And all you see, I'm adding just these little dots. Think when you see a balloon and you see the light reflecting, you see these little dots that add to the illusion or add to the roundness of it. And that's all I'm doing. I'm adding those little dashes to the hearts. I'm thinking, these are like, my idea is like balloons. So like the top of the heart's gonna be the roundness. So I'm gonna add these little dashes just to sell the idea that it's like inflated. And I love how this turned out. You're gonna see it in the close-up. It looks really, really nice. I honestly loved it. I didn't think it was gonna come as good as it came out. Now, another thing that you're gonna see me do along the way, and like I said, working with two pictures or multiple pictures is something that I don't do often. But in this case, I actually really enjoy the fact that I had two different color pictures to start with, and a series, and it actually works really well in this layout. Now, first thing I did is use I'm using the 12 by 12 paper pad from the Field Notes collection, and I backed both pictures with this paper that had the same tones as the background. Then I'm choosing to matte the black and white picture with that green paper just because I wanted to pop out, and it has pretty much the same color as the background in the color picture. And then I'm gonna use a little bit of the craft paper that is in one of the papers just to back the bottom of the second page. You're gonna see that I make sure that the top and the bottom of the pages didn't have that much paper because I don't want them to be that much difference between the pictures. I also propped the top picture with some foam adhesive because I wanted to have that lift and make sure that the pictures had a little bit of separation. Now what I'm doing is I actually took the time for one of the previous layers to cut out quite a bit of the flowers from one of the papers in the collection, and I saved a lot of those flowers. And all I'm doing is I'm just gonna create a large cluster of these flowers on the left hand side of the picture. I am adding a few stamp images, and again, if you saw my previous process video, then you know that I actually took the time to stamp pretty much all the florals and the leaves and the butterflies that came in the past two sets of stamps, and used the dies to cut them apart, or took the time to fussy cut, in this case, the leaves. And I have a little bowl full of goodness and happiness, like I call it, because I can use it at any time. So all I'm doing right now, just to create that difference in the leaves, I'm adding a little bit of color, and I'm adding one of those butterflies. And I love that green. It's bringing out the green in the background and everything else. Now I'm gonna start embellishing, and it takes very little to embellish. And all I'm doing first of all is adding some of the new watercolor stickers, just because I want to bring some, like a little bit of, break the little area where I have all the flowers and I have the two pictures. After that, I am gonna add a title to this, and I found this die cut that says "Be Happy," and I thought it was perfect for what I wanted to convey in this layout. And then you're gonna see that I'm gonna add a few of the chipboard stickers. These ones are, again, if you can afford to get two of them, go ahead. You're gonna get so much use out of it. And then you're gonna see that I'm gonna bring some more elements actually from the All the Good Things collection. The cardstock stickers from it are great, one of my favorites. So I'm just bringing a few into this layer, and I'm just gonna add more details using some of the die cuts, and that's pretty much it. This layout is pretty much done. After that, I'm gonna add a few more stickers from the clear stickers. Again, another thing that is so great out of this new collection. Then after that, I keep seeing the white paper, and I thought that to bring the pink in the background, I needed to create a frame. So all I'm doing is, this paper comes from the All the Good Things paper pad, and the color, this pink color is the B side of the paper, matches a bit of the color that I'm using in the background. So all I did is cut a frame out of the paper and then trim a little bit of my foundation paper, the one that I'm using for the background, and then just glue it on top of it, and that's it. I'm gonna add lines of journal, and my layout's pretty much done. Super simple. It did take a while to build. Like I said, I put it aside because it needed to dry completely. You see the hearts now, aren't they great? It gives you the idea of actually these balloon hearts that are inflated. Love it. Love how this turned out. I hope you try it. If you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to give you a hand. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to check out Vicki's stuff. It is shipping right now. There's a few stores that have it already, and you are gonna love it. Thank you so much for joining me today. See you.